Hey guys, it's Wanda, and the canning kitchen's open today. I hadn't taken the potatoes off, but we're going to talk a little bit about just basic, simple, what we're going to do to get ready to can. There's a lot to it sometimes, and it's overwhelming to somebody that's never canned. Really few items and you're good to go. It's raining, and we've already been out and picked the English peas. I've already shelled them. Yeah. And so I went out, helped him with that, got in, shelled them, and now we're getting ready to can them. There's not that many, probably enough for using them with potatoes, 3 to 4 pints with potatoes and English peas, but it's enough to make a few more meals. While I'm working out here, I thought I'd show you, first off, you got to go pick it, or you got to go pick it up at the grocery store, or you pick it, or you've got to go to your farmer's market. I mean, wherever you get your veggies, go get them. Then you got to bring them in, you got to clean them. Peas, beans, things like that have to be shelled. Green beans have to be snapped. Onions have to be the skins taken off and chopped up if you want them chopped up in there. Potatoes. Now my potatoes are fresh. We just dug them 2 days ago. So I'm still leaving skins on a lot of them, but I'm going to show you what I do. I still leave the skins on most of them for the first 2 weeks, and then I start peeling. But today we're going to just kind of do a good cleanup, and I wash these like I don't know how many times before I actually put them in the jar. I've got them sitting in water for the first time. I'm going to dump it off. We're going to put it back in water. I'll show you how I do this, and I'll scrub them around, dump it off, put them back in water. We'll take them inside. Okay, one thing you really want to do is you got to have a bucket, a bowl. It can be plastic, whatever. Danny and I are just kind of getting used to these galvanized buckets. We found them at our local hardware store. As long as you take care of them, galvanized buckets will last. Once I get through, I flip my bucket upside down, let the water drain out so it's not sitting with water in it or food or anything else. I've got this brush that I usually brush potatoes with. It's a Lodge brush. I think it's made for cleaning cast iron, but it's got a good bristle on it, and I don't use it for cast iron. I use it for potatoes. I've also found these little things. I think a subscriber sent me several of them. You can rub this on those potatoes and it seems to do pretty good. I like stainless. I'm going to just tell y'all, I've got stainless everywhere, all kinds of stainless. So as we get these reasonably clean, we'll put them in here. We'll keep rinsing them back and forth between these two till I get most of the dirt off. Then we'll go inside where I'm chopping them up. And I could do all the prep work out here in the canning kitchen, but I'm back and forth between fixing to do lunch and getting everything ready, and we'll be back out here canning in just a little while. So when you're canning, number one thing for prep work is to have a few buckets to pick in, somewhere to clean. You can use a hose, you can use your kitchen sink. We're just using this outside sink to get most of the dirt out. You need something to put them in. It can be plastic, it can be whatever you have. I just prefer stainless. And the bowl that I used that was stainless, the flat one that I was shelling in, is just right for me when I'm shelling. This is kind of high for my arms to be up in my lap. The other one's down. Both of them have this lip, so your arm is not sitting on something that hurts you, an edge like this. It's got a lip that's smoother. I like that. Just me. So we're going to get to washing potatoes and getting everything ready to can. Kind of like a washing machine with an agitator, I guess. See how dirty that water's getting? And you're just like marbles, you're just rolling them around on each other. It's not going to hurt if the skin comes off. You don't care, because I just didn't want to have to peel them. I just want the dirt off. And then dump that dirty water again. See how clean they're coming? Okay, if you were using the rough side, you could rub these potatoes like that and it'll bring it off, or you can use this side. Since these are little potatoes, and if you want all that peeling off, you could sit there and do that all day, but Wanda ain't doing it. You can just sit here if you think there's dirt on it and do each individual potato. The same with the brush. You can sit here and get every crack and crevice. But these are little potatoes. I'm not worried. I'm using the peeling, so it's not going to matter. Just with the quick way. This is the third time they've been washed. I'm going to put them in here. We're taking them in because I'm going to be doing some more washing while I'm cutting them up. And some of these places on them I will be cutting out. The eyes and stuff if I don't want that in there. I've chosen the onions that are about this size, saving the bigger onions for something else. We're using all the smallest ones first in my cannon. Taking the outer skins off that don't cook very well. And then just chopping them up in pieces from a jar. If I want the ends like spots out, I just have a little paring knife type thing, then I cut them. And I usually quarter them in pieces and put them in water till I get through. Now if there's any stuff you don't want on it, just scrape it off. And quarter them. By doing that, this bowl holds a lot of the junk, and I just clean it off. Swap bowls. See the trash that comes out? Most of your trash will come out if you do this 3 to 4 times. And then I run water in it. can. Okay guys, I've changed the sign. Basic supplies for the canning kitchen. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Out in the canning kitchen, I've got everything prepped. I've got my English peas, my onions, and my potatoes here. And as I told you, I like my stainless bowls. You don't have to have stainless, but that's something I like. I use just throwaway Tupperware. It's not even Tupperware. This is just like you get stuff, Rubbermaid, something like that. You can use those. Anything you have works. Now, I suggest you have some buckets. Any type buckets, some type of bowls, some type of cleaning things like I showed you, a brush, a scrubby, just a cloth, just like this. You can rub those potatoes and it'll come clean. Anything will work. We're going to talk about other basics while the water is getting hot, and then we're going to start doing some canning. I'm not showing the canning process today. I'm only showing basics and what you need to have to can. Now, you don't have to have everything like I told you. You can fudge with what I have. You can just use what you have. Now, funnels is going to be one thing. This is a set of 2. They have the little bitty ends on them. Great for any kind of water, juices, things like that. That's what I would use those for. I haven't even opened those because I haven't started any jellies and jams and stuff. I prefer this one. I found this on Amazon, and if I think I'll put a link. If not, you'll have to go hunt it. But it's called a wide mouth funnel. It's a stainless steel wide mouth funnel. Now, this part fits the regular jars. It doesn't fit a wide mouth jar. It is a wide mouth funnel. Now, what I find, you will say that these are the same, but look, it's wider than the regular funnels, and it has a rim around it. Now, this one fits a regular jar. It's like a wide mouth, but it's plastic. I'm stainless girl. I like my stainless. I use some plastic, but if I find it in stainless, I start going with stainless. Now, this captures more of your stuff going in than some of the smaller ones. You just have to be careful because it gets hot and you don't want to reach and grab it and it be hot. You need some way to put water in your jars. Now, I use this. This is an old 1 cup Tupperware. This is the old school Tupperware. This is not the new stuff you get. This is old school. I don't get my water so boiling hot that it's going to melt the plastic. Now, I just get my water up to near boiling. Okay? You can argue on that one if you want to. You can boil it. You can use whatever you want to dip, but Wanda uses this, so this is my go-to. When it falls apart, this thing's probably 25, 30 years old. Just saying. You need measuring cups and measuring spoons. Now, I bought these specifically for out here because they're magnetic. I love it. When I'm doing pints, I need a half a teaspoon. So I take the half a teaspoon out. I put the quarter back and it just stays there. I don't have to worry about it. I got this. I don't have all these things around it holding it all together that you got to take it apart. It's just easy. If I need a tablespoon, I just go to the tablespoon, take it out for a quart. And they're magnetic. They pop back in. Found it at Walmart, just saying. It's one of those deals. So today I'm using the half a teaspoon for pints. Cleaning jars. This is my go-to. This came from Full Circle. You can find them on Amazon. I've bought several of these. I've given some away. We got the first one in the Homestead box several years ago. And it has these little things on the side. You can mash them. This head comes off. You can buy replacement heads. It's a good wooden handle. It just works. The deal is jars. Okay, this isn't wet. And you can't hardly push it in a jar when it's not wet, and it will break. You get it wet, and it just goes right in your jar. It's a sponge. It's an odd sponge. You just twist it. You move it up and down on all sides. back and forth, and it fits under the rim in your jar, and it comes out cleaning the whole inside of your jar. It works on pints, it works on quarts, it also works on glasses. All you ladies that have glasses that you can't reach down into and clean, or your water bottles that have a wide top and you can't get down in there, this is perfect. Full circle. It's a cleaning brush. I wouldn't be without it. In fact, I own several. Out here I use a timer. I have my phone, but I've got a timer, and I set the timer for what I need, and I go by it. Now you can get fancy, you can get any type timers you want and anything. You can use your phone, whatever you need, it's up to you. Canners. One thing I get so many questions about is canners. Why can't I water bath vegetables? Don't. Grandma, great-grandma might have. They knew a lot more than we know as far as how to preserve their stuff in a water bath canner. There's no good information out there on it. I have not found anywhere that anybody gives out any real solid information. Now, if your grandmother taught you and you know what you're doing, go for it. That's up to you. I don't use the water bath canner except jams, jellies, and fruits. Tomatoes, that's it. Now this is what we call a water bath canner. I also have a stainless one that I'm using now. This one went by the wayside when I found a stainless. This rust, this is the basket. You want the basket in it. Don't use it without a basket or something in the bottom. Your jars will bang together, and when the water starts boiling, stuff like that, you want that. But this is what comes: the basket, the pot, and the lid. Now, like I said, I bought a big stainless one so that I can use it to water bath can, because I'm turning into a huge stainless person. And if you ask me why, stainless is easy to clean. Very easy. These will rust. Like I showed you, it will rust. These speckled pots, you can nick them and get spots in them, and then it'll start to rust. There's always an issue with that if you're not real careful. Stainless, I buy the heavy duty stainless. I don't buy the cheap Walmart $10 pots. The pots I bought were anywhere from $50 on up for a pot. Some of my pots are $70 and $80 a piece because they are stainless. They're a heavy duty stainless. You do not want to use a pressure cooker. Exactly. Now some of them may say cooker, but it better say canner. Some of them are small and you can't put your pots in there. You want something at least, this is a 16 quart. This is one of the smaller ones. I have two. I bought a new one. I like them with the little jigglers on them, but you can get all American. There's all kinds that have the big gauges on top. You can keep up with. It's whatever you want, whatever you can afford. But this one you can find for around $100 if you can find them. Now I use Ball canning books. I have 3 of the Ball canning books. I have 1991, 1999, and 2010. Now if I had to say any of them were my favorites, this one right here is one I pick up more than any other. But they all have the same information. I've checked as far as your basic canning. All of them have the same information. The problem is they just have different recipes. Some of this information, like some of the recipes and stuff that are multiple recipes, may be different in each book. But your single, how to can, how to water bath, how to dehydrate, how to freeze, it's in all of them, because this one says home canning and freezing, this one says home canning, freezing, and dehydration, and this one just says guide to preserving. It probably has a little everything in it. So get you a Ball book, guys. In the last 2 videos, I've canned pints at 40 minutes. It's supposed to be 35 minutes. It's 5 minutes less for pints as opposed to quarts. It's not going to hurt your pints to go the extra 5 minutes. Green beans only can at 25 minutes, but I put them with potatoes and they went 40 minutes. So it's not hurting either one. They're not mush. At some point in the future, I guess I need to open one and see, just so y'all can see that it does look and taste great. Salt. I just use this. It's a great value, but it has no iodine. Iodine makes your jars a little cloudy, and I prefer it. You can use sea salt or whatever. You can use iodized salt if you want to, but I don't. Jars. You gotta have jars. Now we usually use Ball. It says Ball or Mason, but I do have some Golden Harvest, and I probably have a few Kerr. So you want to check your jars before you start. Make sure the rims are not nicked. There's no rough spots, because they won't seal if they're nicked on the top. You have to always check them. And jars come in regular and wide mouth. They come in pint and they come in quarts. You can get bigger jars, but you're not going to be canning in bigger jars. So you have to determine what size jar you need. You have to determine if it's a pint or a quart. If you're feeding like Danny and I, 2 people or 1 person, a pint is usually enough. If you're feeding a family of 4 or more, you want at least a quart. If you've got a huge family, you want a bunch of quarts. Just saying. The wide mouths, I usually put things in it like meats, sweet potatoes, something that you putting a big something in the top, and want to take out pears. Pears is a big one that I usually put in wide mouths because I'm not canning them. I'm water bathing fruits. But you have to determine what you're canning, what size jar, and what kind of jar. On top of that, you got to have lids. And with lids, you need the rings and the flaps. You have 2-piece part that you got to have to go with the jars. Now, when you buy them originally, they come with 1 flat, 1 ring. You can't reuse that ring. Some people do, but I don't. I save it for whatever. If you want to just put it down on something that you're just closing temporarily, that's okay. But I do not re-pressure anything with these lids. Danny and I, our go-to is if you buy a box of jars, buy 2 boxes of these. That gives you 2 years. Rule of thumb, if you do that, every time you buy a box of jars, you buy 2 of these, you know you're going into the next year. We like Ball. Now, I'm not saying they're any better than anybody else, but we've had Ball silver lids like this. The Ball silver lids, because here it's humid and we get a lot of humidity, and lids will rust faster than they will in other climates. If you're not in a humid climate, then most any of them probably would work. There's a lot of discrepancies on where they're made, if they're made in the US, made in China, whatever. You have to determine that. The lids that I got a sleeve from an Amish store. I use those for water bath canning. Simply fruits and tomatoes, jellies, jams, because I don't know if I trust them for my pressure canning. Okay, one other thing, and we're going to close it out. These are tongs made for taking your jars out. This part down here hooks on a regular mouth jar like that. Now, if I had a wide mouth out here, the wide mouth goes in this part right here. Most people did not know that. The regular here, a wide mouth jar up here. Because this is wider, it will hold your jar and it won't let it slip. If you try to hold a wide mouth down here, it wants to slip. But it won't slip in this part right here. You want a pair of these, just saying. I have a rubber mat laying here. It is a bar mat. You can get them on Amazon. They work out just fine for keeping stuff off your cabinets. And as always, a debubbler. Now this one was sent to me by Miss Lippy from Gemini Homestead. It is actually an ivory debubbler. You can get them, you can do whatever. You can buy these in plastic and whatever. I just like mine because this works. Guys, a chopstick works. Towels, you need towels. Just keep all kinds of towels handy. And you need paper towels or something to wipe the rims. You can use this, but I use a paper towel lots of times. Some vinegar to wipe the rims. All these things you need. Towels. Okay guys, that's all for today. Canning basics. Just a few of the things that you might need to have on hand for canning. My battery's running out. I gotta go. I've got a can. Gotta fix something to eat. But we enjoyed having you stop by, see what I have in my canning kitchen. The canning kitchen is closed.